Inspiring, motivating, loving are some of the descriptions by the students. Gold medalist from Panjab University, more than 40 years of teaching and research experience, with over 245 papers published. A person who has contributed maximum to the growth of NIPER Mohali as a globally recognized brand. Who is this legendary personality? Professor Saranjit Singh. As he approaches his retirement, let's visit his impressive life story.
Dr. Saranjit Singh Manohar was born on 8th October 1956 at East Patel Nagar, New Delhi, to parents late Professor Ram Singh and late Mrs. Devinder Kaur. Saranjit Singh was the youngest among the three siblings, the other two being his elder brothers, Mr. Ravinder Singh and Mr. Gurjeet Singh. Dr. Singh's family moved to the beautiful city of Chandigarh in 1959. We now follow Dr. Singh on his way to Panjab University. As we enter the sprawling campus, it gives us the feel of a European design and calm. His father was a professor at the university, and the family stayed at the staff quarters in this sprawling green campus. The house you see, E54, was allocated to his father on joining Panjab University. It is a serene moment for Dr. Singh as he takes a look at this very important landmark in his life. It is difficult for him to control his emotions. As we move through the lane, we discover that it has housed many eminent professors over the years, including the former Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, during his short stint as professor at Panjab University. This lane also houses the Vice Chancellor. As Dr. Singh recollects fond memories here, we allow you to enjoy the breathtaking visuals. Dr. Singh during his walk is amazed to find the Dobie and family still residing exactly where they did 60 years ago. The Dobie or the laundry people have continued the service over 3 generations. Dr. Singh is speaking to a member of the family who recollects fond memories. Revisiting one's childhood is very evident on Dr. Singh's eyes. His sense of nostalgia cannot be expressed in words. This beautiful bougainvillea is more than 60 years old and remains as fresh as Dr. Singh's memories. There are 3 primary sources that inspired Dr. Saranjit Singh to pursue pharma.
Now, at that time, it came to my mind that a single tube of medicine could save me from all the problem that I could have faced with corneal grafting and the painful procedure where you could not move your head. So, that really gave me admiration for a medicine that can help you in recovering from the ailment. Lying on the bed, I committed myself because pharmacy department was well known in Panjab University where I used to live from the childhood, and that was always a top ranked department in the university. So at that time only, sitting on the bed and lying on the bed, I really developed commitment that given a chance, if I get a good score, I will join the pharmacy and choose pharmacy as a profession for my future.
That is truly inspirational. But it also makes us wonder what happened prior that led to cornea grafting in his eye. Let's track back to a timeline in 1974, when Dr. Singh had just finished his last practical exam in grade 12. As he was cycling home, he encountered a dust storm, which caused an injury to his right eye as a result of rubbing. Gentamicin was prescribed as a medication by the doctor. Despite applying this for a few days, redness increased in Dr. Singh's eye. A fungal infection had developed. The drug to cure this was natamycin, and this was not available back then in India. Despite the exhaustive efforts of Dr. Singh's father to find the drug in Delhi, there was no success.
That Mr. Kishan Khan came to know that Mr. Karan Singh, who was a Union Health Minister at that time, he was going for official meeting to Holland, and he put a slip into his pocket, "Please fetch this medicine while you are returning." That medicine came over along to me at my bedside, and the doctors started putting that into my eye, and I started recovering. After a few days, 1 week of the treatment, the medicine, that tube got over, and I still remember that another slip and medicine came again from Mr. Karan Singh, Union Health Minister, that there is another dose of the second tube of the medicine. That way my eye was saved. Otherwise, the only way out was corneal grafting, which was a very painful procedure at that time.
The second source of inspiration was Dr. Singh's mother, Mrs. Devinder Kaur, a homeopathic practitioner, who never charged a single penny from patients. She was rooted to social work and would visit the poor in search of anybody who was sick and rendered medical help. In the clinic, Dr. Singh had the task of dispensing sweet homeo pills to patients. During visits to colonies of poor, he was a transporter on a two-wheeler. These values and experiences have left an indelible impact on Dr. Singh's perspective. Last but not the least, a major source of inspiration post opting for a pharmaceutical education was late Professor Harkishan Singh.
Harkishan Singh was my teacher when I was at Panjab University, and I tell you that how my persona had been influenced by him. He had been a very hard-working teacher, always loved to be close to his students. I have seen him in a full summer outside when the loo was there on the road outside, 45 degrees, he will be still in his office in the afternoons, in the summer breaks even. And sometimes I have seen sitting him inside the room with underclothes. Such was the dedication of this person towards the profession.
Professor Harkishan Singh left a profound impact on Dr. Singh's career. Among the many snippets of wisdom from the late professor, this one, according to Dr. Singh, remains the most significant.
Now, in my personal meeting, I have plenty of chances to visit his home, have a personal meeting with him. One thing which goes along and happened to me in life, it was somewhere several years ago that he gave this words of wisdom to me and exchanged the words of wisdom. He said, society is a great leveler. The moment you try to raise your head above the crowd, the bang will come on your head and society will want you to come to its level. Nobody in the world wants you to excel. So he said, Saranjit, if you really want to excel in life, you have to raise your head above the crowd. So these words of wisdom of Professor Harkishan Singh, who later got the Padma Shri Award, has gone all along with me and helped me what I am. So I see the major contribution after my parents of Professor Harkishan Singh, words and my association with him, that I also have followed the same principle that he followed of hard work and giving all the attention to the students and make them best in the career.
All great stories have strong influences, and we now know the answer to why Dr. Singh chose Pharma, and also why he wants to see Pharma students have inspired careers. We continue on our journey towards the department in Panjab University, which made Dr. Singh a legend in pharmaceutical academics. University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Chandigarh has many scenic locations. Panjab University is without doubt one of them. Dr. Singh is excited to receive us at the entry of the department to share some of the pivotal moments of his education and the early part of his academic career.
This is the entry point of University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. It has a very special place in my heart. Once I had that episode of eye infection and the drug Pharma saved my eye, I was inspired to join pharmacy course and pursue pharmacy in higher education. And being a resident of campus, so it was really enchanting for me to be getting admission in the university itself in this department. At that time it was known as the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and later it was re-nomenclatured as University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. I did my graduation, post-graduation and also doctorate from this place. And in masters, although I was admitted last during my B.Pharm admission, but I am very happy to say that I could achieve gold medal in the masters. So spending a whole lot of time in your education, higher education at a place, so this is my alma mater.
I know Professor Saranjit Singh since more than 40 years and in different capacities. We studied together during our B.Pharm, M.Pharm. He was 1 year senior to me, and it was a great pleasure to be a co-student along with Dr. Saranjit Singh. Then we did our PhD almost together. We shared the same room in Panjab University campus, where I could see Dr. Saranjit Singh as a very, very detailed researcher working on different aspects of kinetics of a CDRA molecule.
Then, of course, I was a faculty in the same place, and I worked in this place as a lecturer for almost 13 years before moving to NIPER.
My association with Sir goes back to 1982 when I joined as a student at UIPS. He would take engineering, drawing, and physical pharmacy classes with us. His approachability and simplicity were the things which struck me at that time. Then when I joined as a master's student in pharmaceutics, he was almost completing his PhD thesis, but we learned several things from him at that time also, including, very simple, how to clean your glass apparatus. And he said, you have to ensure that no water droplets are sticking to your tubes or glass apparatus, and that ensures that it is clean. When I joined my PhD program, he had received a grant and he had set up one of the first HPLC units at UIPS, but very soon he moved on to NIPER, where all of us know he has been performing so well.
And he should also enjoy a good time with the beautiful people he has in his family. And I wish Dr. Saranjit Singh as well as his family great time post his superannuation. Thank you.
There are a lot of memories of the hard work led by Professor Harkishan Singh and all other faculty members, my teachers. And it had been a very nice journey to be at this place. There had been some achievements which I could make over here, the nice research I could do over here in this department as a part of my PhD program. So it had been a wonderful journey and the time spent at this place. So I always remember being an alumnus of Panjab University, and I was second generation, my father being also a part of university. Then myself, I did my all education over here. Then my daughter also did her LLB honors from a building adjoining to this department. So there are 3 generations who have been at Panjab University.
we depart from Panjab University, and Dr. Singh shows us some places of the university which trigger sweet memories. Gandhi Bhavan is at the top of this list. We take a good look at this beautiful edifice and then make our way out of this wonderful institution. Dr. Singh believes in the tagline, "Fast is fine, but accuracy is everything." Credit to you if you notice this on the back of his t-shirt. A successful career is built over time, and you have to be patient with the right decisions. On that note, Dr. Singh leaves his alma mater, Panjab University. The most important pillar of Dr. Singh's success is his family. He explained the importance of his parents and siblings during his initial days. We are now driving to his home to explore Dr. Singh, the family man. Dr. Singh is a deeply religious man with a daily prayer routine. Here we see Dr. Singh perform his rituals as per Guru Granth Sahib with sincerity. His grandfather, Bhai Sahib Bhai Thakur Singh, was a head priest of Golden Temple, the preeminent spiritual life of Sikhs, which brought religious learning to his family. Dr. Singh values his mother's prayers dearly, as he believes it was pivotal in what he calls a divine healing in his childhood. In addition, his mother's life was instrumental in developing noble values which has helped him earn a valuable reputation in society. Professor Singh found his soulmate in Mrs. Jasbir Kaur, a resident of Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, a state in central India. They got married in 1986, completing 35 years of blissful companionship. Mrs. Singh, a topper of every class since childhood, was a teacher in chemistry at a central school. So they do have something in common, the passion for teaching. They have two wonderful children in Prabdeep Singh and Jasneet Kaur.
With a few days left for my superannuation, I have to thank God Almighty that the whole of my lifespan from the birth till date has gone very smooth. I had some health issues initially as in the childhood, but later on with the prayers of my family, my parents, I regained that good health, and the God Almighty has kept me in good health all through and given me a chance to serve the profession and the society.
While we have heard about the strengths of Dr. Singh from various sources, let's hear from Mrs. Singh on what she admires about Dr. Singh the most.
अगर मैं डॉक्टर सिंह के व्यक्तित्व के बारे में कुछ कहूँ तो सूरज को दीपक दिखाने के समान होगा। उनकी पर्सनैलिटी में ईगोलेस पर्सनैलिटी, वर्कोलिक, डाउन टू अर्थ, पर मुझे जो सबसे अच्छी उनकी पर्सनैलिटी में, व्यक्तित्व में बात अच्छी लगती है, उसकी आज मैं चर्चा करूँगी। पहली बात तो मानवता की सेवा और दूसरा जीव जंतुओं के प्रति दया का भाव।
According to his wife, Dr. Singh is very attached to people and is often seen helping out families that have lost loved ones or ushering people who attend marriages and other ceremonies in greater family with great joy. The other thing Mrs. Singh admires in her husband is
दूसरा जो गुण है वो है जीव जंतुओं के प्रति दया का भाव। आप उन्हें कभी कभी चिड़िया के नन्हे नन्हे बच्चों के साथ बात करते हुए उनके घोंसलों में दाना डालते हुए देख लेंगे। कभी किसी घायल चूहे जो रास्ते में उन्हें मिल गया उसे घर में लाकर उसकी दवा दारू करते हुए देख लेंगे। कभी अपने 10 साल के पेट को जिसका किडनी फेल हो गया है बड़े लगातार कई महीनों तक फ्लूइड चढ़ाते हुए देख लेंगे। हमारे घर में कॉकरोच को मारने का स्प्रे नहीं होता, उसे बोरिक एसिड और आटे से ही भगाया जाता है। चूहों को मारने की दवाई नहीं डाली जाती, उनको भगाने के लिए पिंजरे में बंद करके ही बाहर भगाया जाता है। डॉक्टर सिंह जब भी कभी रास्ते में किसी जीव जंतु को मरा हुआ देख लेते हैं तो खड़े होकर उनके लिए अरदास कर देते हैं।
Her husband, in return, is grateful to her for her priceless support.
I have been really blessed with the support system provided throughout my professional journey in the last 35 years to my wife, then to her for giving me such a, I will say, two very beautiful children, my son and my daughter, and taking care of their education. Total complete education was her task. I have been busy in my office while she has been taking care of whole type, all kinds of household jobs. She had managed everything and she had been a wonderful support system.
This beautiful NIPER campus with great facilities we see now was nowhere close to this in its initial years. The role of Dr. Saranjit Singh in transforming this marshy land into this exceptional educational institution cannot be overstated. Dr. Singh was the first employee of NIPER, and along with other colleagues, his initial tenure for 3 years involved overseeing the physical construction of the institute, organizing infrastructure and facilities, designing laboratories, developing central instrumentation laboratory, purchasing essential equipment, laying down systems and procedures, and designing a novel and a world-class curriculum.
But my more intimate contact with him started when I joined NIPER on 1st September 1994 along with the first director, Dr. C.L. Kaur. Dr. Saranjit had joined a month earlier.
Let us hear from him on the early days of NIPER.
It has been a real great journey to join NIPER and build up the institute as an institute of national importance, and we are happy that it came as a brand of its own in due course. The vivid memory that I have of my joining NIPER, it was a camp office somewhere in Sector 35 Chandigarh, a private property, where I was the first to join. And I still remember that I had a register opened, which was a diary register, first diary register for NIPER. Put my own joining report into there, and it was managed at that time by a national building construction company. Their staff was there in that office, and there where it happened that the director also joined over there subsequently 1 month after, on 1st September 1994. Then we came to campus and our offices started in the guest house, and slowly the core faculty also members joined, and we had small, very skeleton administrative staff.
Core faculty which had joined was less than 10 persons, and they were charged with the responsibility of building an institute of national importance. There was no institute of that kind already operating in the country which could serve as a model. There were institutes in engineering sciences such as IITs and medical sciences such as AIIMS Delhi or PGI Chandigarh. But NIPER was supposed to have contemporary setup in all different departments related to pharmaceutical sciences and technology.
In the early stages, there was a need to have an institutional logo at NIPER. Dr. Saranjit Singh willingly offered to design one. After only 24 hours, he came back with 3 to 4 designs for discussion. And the faculty meeting, one of them was selected with a minor modification. And this is what the final logo of NIPER is at the moment. Apart from pharmacy, it showcases chemistry, natural products, and biosciences. It's also a proud moment for Dr. Saranjit Singh, as the logo was adopted by other NIPERs as well.
Now that he is superannuating, I wish that for many years to come, he remains as active and as productive as before. Let us all join to wish him a very happy and productive post-retirement life.
His ownership and passion for developing the institute is also reflected by his involvement in designing NIPER from 6 departments to 10 departments in the year 2021. Professor Singh was a key person in establishing a rigorous national entrance examination board and selection committee for MS and PhD students. The professor also established relationships with the industry and led and supported many industry projects since 1997. He established and managed the Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis at NIPER single-handedly for over 20 years. Dr. Singh during his tenure has worked closely with the directors of NIPER and in collaboration with the team strived to build a world-class institution. He has seen the baton passed from the first director of NIPER, Professor Kaul, to Professor Ramarao and Professor K.K. Bhutani, Dr. Anikapalli Rao, Dr. S.J.S. Flora, the additional in charge, and the then current Professor Dulal Panda. Additionally, Dr. Singh held the role of Director in charge of NIPER in the absence of a regular director and administered the institute effectively, particularly during difficult times such as the COVID-19 pandemic. NIPER has seen a glorious expansion in these 2 decades and more, post the formative years, all during the years that Dr. Singh spent at NIPER. The list goes on and on. Community Center, Field Laboratory, NBC, Toxicology Center, SMPIC, TDC, Conventional Hall, Patent Cell, and last but not the least, the Heritage Center. His contributions include serving as a renowned trainer and coordinating a training component for the World Bank-sponsored capacity building project for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in the Government of India, under which nearly 2,500 professionals from industry, government and private drug testing labs and regulatory bodies were trained at NIPER at SAS Nagar. His work with the Small and Medium Pharmaceutical Industries Center, SMPIC, has also resulted in the organization of workshops on analytical method development, impurities and metabolite structure characterization, which have attracted participants from academia, industry, and regulatory drug inspectors and controllers. In addition to contributing to many ICH meetings, his services as an expert consultant on stability testing requirements for pharmaceuticals at the World Health Organization was some of the major career accomplishments. His role in convening training sessions under Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation (ITEC) and Special Commonwealth Assistance for Africa Program (SCAAP), sponsored by the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, to Euro-African scientists, resulted in skill development on the role of stability science for improving the quality of pharmaceuticals of hundreds of scientists and regulators from developing countries across the globe.
As a young professional postdoc just returned back from US, and I was looking for a mentor, support as a new professional and independent academic researcher, and that's where I found Professor Singh. Dr. Singh was one of the pillars of NIPER at that time, and he continued that throughout his life. We started interacting for projects first, and then eventually we got into ITech program, under which we conducted several joint programs together. We became very good friends, not just professional colleagues, but also friends at first family level. I remember having those lunches and dinners with Bhabiji at his home. That was an amazing part of my life and experience at NIPER. Professor Singh is not just a good professional, he's also a wonderful person. Someone where you can confide in, you can bounce some ideas, you'll always get useful feedback, and very constructive and very open, transparent person.
It was during his tenure that NIPER had some high-profile visitors. Can you guess who they were? Here's the first one. Yes, that is Prince Charles. NIPER also had the privilege of hosting former President and visionary late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and the then Chief Minister of Punjab, Prakash Singh Badal. Along with other high-profile visits, NIPER has also attracted huge investment across the globe, with the Russian delegation, professionals from the Scottish higher education, the Bhutan and ITEC, to name a few. Apart from teaching, research and publications, one of Dr. Singh's major contributions includes his role as advocate cum educator of stability science to regulatory and industries, done through his 500 plus presentations. Professor Singh is a highly respected academic pioneer within the pharmaceutical quality community in India and abroad.
I am very proud of this wall, and I have to thank all those people who invited me to deliver these lectures or the training programs.
In my more than 20 years of interaction with him, I have seen his immense contribution to the institute. He has built an internationally acclaimed lab in the field of stability studies and impurity profiling. Administratively, during his tenure as dean and otherwise as well, he created robust systems to run the institute, which are going to be useful in years to come. With his superannuation, NIPER will lose a stalwart founder faculty member from NIPER. He has touched the lives of innumerable students who still maintain a strong network with him. He also created the brand NIPER very effectively in the pharmaceutical industry. I wish Professor Singh a healthy life ahead, and I am sure that he will keep on contributing significantly to the field of pharmacy in some way.
No tribute to Professor Singh would be complete without reflecting on his pioneering work in the area of pharmaceutical stability science, which benefited both regulatory bodies and industry. Initially, Professor Singh, a formulation scientist, focused his research on stability testing of pharmaceuticals, in particular stability of anti-infective drugs relevant to developing countries. During the initial phase of his research journey, he decided to change his path from formulation development to stability science, which he developed as an important branch of the pharmaceutical analysis and dedicated his entire work towards the same. Today, across the industry, the name of Professor Singh resonates with Stability Singh. Let us hear from Dr. Singh's first PhD student, Monica Bakshi, on the contribution of stability testing of Dr. Singh in her career.
Hello, I'm Monica Bakshi Sharma. I had the privilege of being the first PhD student for Saranjit Sir at NIPER. It was an absolute honor to work with Sir, not only due to his immense scientific knowledge, but also due to his solution-oriented approach, motivating nature, and keen desire to solve current industry issues. I wish to express my gratitude to Sir for introducing me to this exciting and beautiful world of stability testing, and in particular stress testing and stability indicating methods, which were the topic of my PhD thesis and which have been integral part of my career throughout.
I was fortunate enough to have got a chance to edit a book with him on stability testing. And that was the golden period when I had learned a lot from Dr. Saranjit and really understood the meaning of the word eagle's eye. Dr. Saranjit certainly has that edge, and I would share an incident that when the book was in final stages of submission, he said, "Yaar, ek graph mainu theek nahi lagta." And we reached back to the author, who said, "No, it's fine." But then again he said, "Yaar, meri gal karao de naal." So we called him, and within seconds that author agreed that yes, this particular graph is not correct, and he corrected and returned it back.
With respect to his adaptability, he has adapted many research areas, not only in his expert areas of stability, impurity profiling, etc., but also he has adapted research areas like drug metabolism, pharmacokinetics, and recently PBPK modeling. And he is always a trendsetter in all the research he does.
These equipment were purchased way back in 2006 and 7. They had been really useful to the students who have done extensive work, hands-on training also, and they worked hands-on. Almost the machines were unused for 24 hours, and we have been able to come out with great publications with the results that have come out of these machines. I am also thankful to Dr. C.L. Kaul, our founder director, who invited me to give a proposal for the grant that was available with the ministry, and I could purchase these equipments, and the whole generation of students had taken advantage of these.
Dr. Ankit, one of the students of Dr. Singh's last batch, explains the role of the drug testing laboratory, which is used to analyze samples from external agencies and the market. It is also used for academic assessments of students. The infrastructure is equipped with highly advanced equipment. It was during his illustrious career at NIPER that the Heritage Center was inaugurated, and the beautiful exhibits of pharma-related artifacts and information have been put on display. This Heritage Center has some breathtaking stories and vital information on pharmacopoeia, In the midst of all the different aspects of Dr. Singh's life, we seem to have forgotten the avatar of Dr. Singh, the teacher. As Dr. Singh comes to the end of his formal teaching career at NIPER, let us look at the impact he has left among the students.
In our Indian culture, teacher is respected as the most important person in our life next to our parents. Teachers play an important role in all our lives. Professor Singh plays a crucial role in my life too. It's very appropriate to mention that teaching profession is the one which creates many professions. Here, many of us may be working in different professions as teacher, regulatory personnel, scientist, entrepreneur, etc. etc. This is possible not only by the education provided by Professor Singh, but also the values given by him.
My first interaction with Dr. Singh was in early 2001 when I appeared for the interview for Masters at NIPER Mohali at the Department of Pharma Analysis. And his first question, as the most active member of the panel, was, how would you analyze an ointment? And my answer was the easiest one, I don't know, sir. That's when he looked at my application form and said, इतनी दूर से आए हो यार, थोड़ा try तो करो. And then I tried explaining him what is an ointment, how can we extract it, and then how can we really analyze it. And he obviously hinted and helped to arrive me at that answer. At the end of that, my tuta-futa answer, he said, आपको आता तो है, be confident यार, you can do it. And that was the level of confidence he instilled in a person who was coming first time out of a small pharmacy college in the interior of Haryana and hardly was able to manage a good conversation in English in those days.
It appears that Dr. Singh, along with professional guidance, has also been a life mentor to many of his students.
Thank you very much, boss, for inspiring us. We cannot thank you enough for the importance of your mentoring in our life. We wish you keep motivating many other students in your next phase of life.
Thanks for creating a fun and safe educational environment. Your kindness made me feel more comfortable.
Dear boss, my words cannot express my gratitude towards your eminence. For me, you are not the mentor for 5 years. You are mentor for my entire life, and I am privileged to have you as my guru. Thank you for everything.
You are my once in a lifetime teacher who will stay in my heart forever. Thanks a lot for all your support and constant motivation till date. All the best for your future endeavors.
तो सरंजीत सर में बहुत सारी विशेषताएं हैं, लेकिन मुझे उनकी विशेषता जो सबसे ज़्यादा पसंद है वो ये कि वो ना तो किसी स्टूडेंट की कमी कमज़ोरी देखते हैं, ना सुनते हैं और ना ही किसी को सुनाते हैं। अगर इन्हीं को मैं दूसरे शब्दों में कहूँ तो डॉक्टर सिंह एक बेहतरीन शिक्षक और व्यक्तित्व महान है। एक गुण में क्या बताऊँ, वो तो गुणों की खान है। मानते हैं हर छात्र को हीरा, न समझते किसी को पाषाण है। यही हमारे शिक्षा के जोहारी बॉस की खूबी सबसे महान है। थैंक यू।
Professor Singh has several positive influences on my life, not only as a pharmaceutical scientist, but as an individual as well. His ability to identify unique strengths of his students and further strengthen them has enormously contributed to successes of all of us, his mentees. He always presented himself as a role model, and he will remain so for all of us.
From 1997, we were working together, and I'm very good experience working with him. He is a very good mentor, and I think he is one of my best boss I have ever worked with.
I'm sure you all agree the meaning of Saranjit as simplicity, adaptability, radical thinking, approachable, nimble-witted, and of course, Jabardast, illuminating lives of many of our lives, and a great teacher. Finally, I would like to thank Professor Singh for everything he taught. I wish him all the very best for his next innings after the retirement.
I'm thankful to everyone at NIPER, including the leadership, the directors and the deans, and my faculty colleagues, the staff, the administrative staff, the support staff, outsourced staff, security staff, everybody in the institute through my journey who have been helpful to us, and to the whole lot of my students who have been an excellent companion in this journey. And I have best wishes for all the future students of NIPER, and particularly the Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis. You have been, all students who have passed out already have reached very high positions in industry and in academia. My congratulations to them, and I pray for your welfare and the welfare of all the future students all through. Thank you.
Dr. Singh leaves NIPER with a rich legacy. He is immensely satisfied to see his perseverance for more than 2 decades at NIPER bear great fruit. Here's a note from the founder and MD of Sun Pharma, Dilip Sanghvi. Dear Professor Singh, I extend my heartiest congratulations to you on superannuating this year after completing 27 glorious years at NIPER Mohali. Though I didn't have an opportunity to interact with you, but have known a lot about your excellence in research, especially in the areas of drug stability, impurity profiling, etc., and that you have guided masters and PhD students who will surely take your teachings forward for the growth of the Indian pharmaceutical industry. The contributions made by you are truly worth reckoning. Congratulations once again. Take care, and wishing everyone at NIPER all the very best. This is Dilip Sanghvi from Sun Pharma.
My children, the elder son Prabdeep is now into a startup of his own. He is highly educated, double MBA from Narsi Monji Institute of Management Science and also from INSEAD, France. So I have all the blessings for him.
Hanji Dad, happy retirement ji, and happy 65th birthday to a very long innings ahead. I am going to take this opportunity to tell everyone about you, because I genuinely believe that you've played 3 very important roles in my life. First, during schooling, second, during college, and third, during this opportunity that I've had to build a business that's scaling up. So, in school, I remember you as an active father. You always took extreme amount of interest in schooling. Mom took care of all the studying, but I remember you being there in parent-teachers meeting, actively engaging with, my coaches, my teachers, and making sure that you take extreme interest in my upbringing. And you were strict as well, you were friendly as well, but overall, you gave the right start and the values. Number 2, in college, you became friendly, you were focused on my career, and you बहुत support kita. And third, during this business, not only did you support financially, but you basically supported through motivation, and you always said that whatever God does, it does for the better. ਤੇ ਉਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, we struggled, but here we are doing well now. ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ a lot of it goes to you, the credit goes to you, and that's why my desire that now that you are retiring, you should live your retired life as absolute king.
My daughter is nature-loving person. She has made our house totally green from outside with all the plantations. She is at this moment located at Goa. Again, wishes to spend her life in a natural environment. So I also have the blessings for her that she is able to fulfill and always that her dreams are fulfilled by the Almighty.
Having him as a father, well, it's tough to explain this over a video call to an audience. But when I look back to the childhood, I see him as a person who's played so many roles in my life. Being a father, of course, the first and the foremost, to a friend and a buddy whenever I needed one, to my worst critique when I needed one, to my pillar of strength, to my teacher, to everything. He's been my go-to person for everything. Any problem, my first person to contact is my father, and he just has a solution for everything. For everything, he would find me a solution with such optimism and positivity that it's great to have the support from him all my life. Now that after such a long work tenure, he is retiring from his glorious service, I really wish that he gives more time to himself. He travels around the world.
डॉक्टर सिंह करीब साढ़े 40 साल की नौकरी के बाद अक्टूबर में सेवानिवृत्त हो रहे हैं। सभी उनसे पूछ रहे हैं कि आप रिटायरमेंट के बाद क्या करोगे। उन्होंने परमात्मा के ऊपर छोड़ा हुआ है, जहाँ डेस्टिनी उसे ले जाएगी वो काम कर लेंगे। मेरी इच्छा है कि वो जो भी काम करें 9 to 5 जॉब ना करें, घर के लिए, पेंडिंग कामों के लिए, शॉपिंग के लिए, बच्चों के साथ घूमने फिरने के लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा टाइम निकालें। और दूसरी मेरी इच्छा ये है कि उन्होंने मुझे ये प्रॉमिस किया था कि रिटायरमेंट के बाद मैं अमृत छक लूँगा।
As we enjoy with this wonderful family, this quote comes to mind. Like branches in a tree, we grow in different directions, but our root remains the same. As Professor Singh is about to enter his retired life, we wish him and his family a great future. We depart from Dr. Singh's beautiful home with sweet memories after experiencing great warmth.